Let me introduce you to Yagna, a seasoned professional with an inspiring career in technology. A proud graduate of the prestigious BITS Polani in 2007, Yagna has spent over 17 years excelling in software testing and quality assurance. Certified as a Sun Certified Programmer and an ISTQB Certified Test Engineer, Yagna's career journey includes contributions to global tech leaders like Symantec, MapR, InMobi, Nutanix, and Gray Orange. His expertise even extends to reviewing popular technical books, including TestNG and HP Vertica Essentials. Yagna is a master of programming languages like Java, Python, and Perl, and works seamlessly with frameworks like TestNG, PyTest, Robot Framework, and Cucumber. Rising through the ranks from an associate QA engineer to associate director of QA, Yagna exemplifies growth and success in the tech world. As a trainer for the past 9 years, Yagna has empowered students and professionals with in-demand skills in big data, Hadoop, Java, Python, Selenium, and more. His mentorship has paved the way for countless successful careers. Yagna's passion extends to being an AI evangelist, using generative AI to revolutionize software testing and automation, making processes faster, smarter, and more efficient.
Before learning test automation, we'll first understand what is the need of test automation. From the statistics, we can observe that 78% of successful businesses benefited from test automation in their deployment process. Over 50% of companies have seen a return on investment from automated testing tools within the first year. Also, automation can boost defect detection up to 90% when we compare with manual testing. Test automation can reduce developers' feedback response by 80%, which gives them more time for improving the code quality. The growth of test automation market is evaluated at $15.87 billion in 2019, and it has almost tripled within 6 years by 2025. Also, test automation adoption has increased from 16% to 50% in 2020, and it is almost above 60% when we are talking now, which is 2025. There are other questions related to test automation jobs relevancy with the advancements in generative AI. So, do we still need test automation in the era of Gen AI? Test automation uh, is not replaced by Gen AI, whereas AI enhances and helps test automation more. Also, the test automation role is evolving by shifting from just creating test scripts to managing intelligent testing systems. Test automation engineers need to handle AI driven test tools that predict failures using historical data, automatically generate test cases, optimize test execution sequences. In this course, we will see how to automatically generate test cases, how to automatically generate the test scripts for automation using tools like ChatGPT and plugins like Copilot for PyCharm. Also, generative AI is widely used in testing for creating synthetic test data, generating test scenarios from requirements, and identify edge cases. Testers need to ensure that AI generated scenarios align with real world use cases because it needs human intervention. Also, the current industry trends shows that test automation frameworks are required to implement and monitor the automation expertise. The market for test automation engineers is projected to grow, especially for the roles focused on AI testing and AI driven automation. There is a high demand for AI enhanced testing skills. Test automation engineers who upskill in AI technologies will have a competitive advantage over those who have not acquired these skills. Okay, so now we understood why do we need test automation, and is test automation role still exists in the era of Gen AI. Now let us understand why should we use only the combination of Python and PyTest and not other combinations like Java, TestNG or Robot Framework. So Python has evolved, and now it has a popularity because of ease of learning, industry demand, and rich ecosystem. There are several advantages of using PyTest framework: its simplicity and power, also its flexibility and fixer support, parameterization helps using PyTest. Because of versatile skill set of learning Python with PyTest, there are a lot of positions for these roles, not just in test automation, but also in DevOps, API testing, and even AI/ML testing. Many organizations prefer PyTest due to its flexibility and scalability, making it a valuable skill globally. Now let us understand what is our course content. In this course, we will first go through ISTQB material for learning manual testing. This is required to identify the test cases, document the test cases, and do static analysis, and also creating or generating the reports for our testing. Then we will go through basic Python programming. We will use Python 3.x, and we will use IDE called PyCharm. Later, we will go through PyTest framework. This is the framework which is required for grouping our test cases, for using fixtures, for using markers, and also for running our test cases. It also helps us in getting the results in a readable and presentable format. Then we will understand what is Selenium. We will use Selenium WebDriver library for our web UI automation. Then we will understand request libraries in Python for performing API automation. Then we'll understand what is behavioral driven development using Gherkin language with a tool called Cucumber. Then we will go through what is meant by CI/CD and how do we use CI/CD with Jenkins for running our nightly automation. Then we'll understand Copilot or a plugin on PyCharm to automatically create test scripts, to debug the test scripts, to understand the existing test scripts, and also we'll understand how to use generative AI tools like ChatGPT for writing test cases and automation using AI. Then we'll go through some advanced concepts like data-driven testing, parallel test execution. Also, we'll see how do we run these test cases on multiple browsers using cloud platforms like BrowserStack and Sauce Labs. We'll also go through the documentation of JIRA, and we'll do practical exercises on using JIRA for writing our test cases, and how to store our code in the code repository like GitHub. Structure of the course: we'll have weekly 2 classes. Each class will be for 2 hours. For every class, there will be an assignment, and student has to complete that assignment for understanding these concepts thoroughly. All course materials, including slides and assignments, will be available on our website. Access will be provided once you pay your fees and log into our website. All communications will be done through our website WhatsApp group. For any doubts, you can ping on our WhatsApp number. So we use ISTQB standard material for training our students in manual testing. I'm just taking one part as a sample class. So there are two types of testing techniques. One is called as black box and one is called as white box. And here we are discussing specifically about black box. Black box meaning we don't think much about how things are being done by the system. We only think that there is a system and if we give this input, this will be the output. So we think that the system is a black box. We don't know what is happening inside. It's not a transparent box. Whereas in case of white box, we try to understand what is going on in the system. It's like a transparent box. Okay, so this is about black box testing. And here there are several techniques we use while performing black box. And these are not or, actually we should use all of these together. And let us understand first one in today's class, equivalence partitioning. So equivalence partitioning is also called as equivalence class partitioning, and this is a black box technique which is used for testing a software or an application. This involves dividing the input data of a software application into multiple partitions of equivalence data. Let us understand how this works. Consider a scenario where user has to input his age, and the rule is the age should be in between 1 and 10. For example, this is an entry into a children's park. So age should be in between 1 to 10, otherwise we will not allow him. And also there should not be any number which should be entered more than 100, because the system thinks that human age should not be more than 100. So there are essentially multiple partitions. So let us see here. So the age should be in between 1 to 10 only. This is a valid partition. And there are three invalid partitions. One is the age should not be 100, because then it thinks that that is not an age, correct age. And it thinks that 11 to 99 is a correct age, but they are not allowed to enter into the park. So it should not be in between 11 to 99. And it should not be less than 1. So there are four partitions you can see here. And then this is the first partition, which is less than 0. So we can take -1 as a test data to test this. And it should not be in between 10 to 1 to, it should be in between 1 to 10. So we need to take a value of 6 or any number. Essentially, I have taken 6 here. And here it should not be in between 11 to 99. So we can take any value in between. So I have taken 88. And it should not be more than 100. So I have taken 121. So essentially here the test data will become -1, 6, 88, 121. In this demo class, we'll understand how do we do Python programming using Python 3x. I have taken a sample class of variables and data types. So we'll understand what is meant by variable and what data types we use in Python. The term variable means which can change. So this is the place where you can store something. For example, think of a box in which we place some item. For example, if you want to store some biscuits, you store it in a container or a box. Now today you have stored biscuits in this container, but tomorrow you may change and store some fruits. Day after tomorrow you may change and put some chocolates. The other day you may put some sugar. So this box or container is a variable, because what will be there or what will be contained in that container will change. So that's the reason it is called as a variable which can change, right? And what do we put in these variables? Those are data types. So let us see what kind of data types we use. So in this example, you can see age equal to 30, name equal to Alice, is student equal to true. So whatever is in green is a code piece, is a code snippet. So age is a variable because you can store 30 now, and after some time you can store 31, or you can store anything. Name equal to Alice. So name is a variable. E student is a variable. So all these are variables, and what do you put in those variables? So you are putting 30 in age. So equal to means actually you are putting that value into that particular variable, and that's the reason equal to is called as assignment operator. So age, name, student are variables, and 30 alias true are data types. So what kind of data types do we have in Python? So we have integers, we have floating point numbers, we have strings, we have boolean. So integers are any whole number, which means actually it can be 0, positive, negative, but it should not have any decimal points. Whereas floating numbers will have decimal point like 5.9, and strings are any characters which are inside double quotes or single quotes. Boolean is either true or false. So these are the data types which are available in Python. There are also other data types which are list. List means a group of numbers or group of strings. And unlike in other programming languages, in Python you can have mixed type of elements, which means you can have 1 comma alias comma 3.5 comma true also in the same list. Then there are tuples. So the difference between list and tuple is you can't change the tuple once you create it. So it's immutable, means which cannot be changed. Then we have dictionaries. Dictionaries are key value pairs. You have a key and value. Here also key can be of any type, value can also be any type. And you have sets. Sets is like list, but the only difference is you cannot have duplicates in sets. And if you note closely, in Python, we don't say which data type it is. For example, in this example, we didn't say int count equal to 10 because Python will dynamically determine the data type. So no need of mentioning or defining what data type the variable is. So here in this example, you can see when I say x equal to 10, and if I try to print the type of x, then it is saying it is int. Even though I didn't specify, the Python has determined that it is an integer. And also in this example, hello, even though I didn't say anything about x, but the type of x says it is a string because Python has determined. Let us see how to use PyCharm for writing our Python programs. We use PyCharm community version, and let me create a new project. Let me call it as Python project 2. Community version is free, so we use community version. So if you want to create a new Python file, just right click on your project file, create new Python file, and say test, and let me write print hello Ailivate AI. Now save it and just right click, and you can run this test. So it prints hello Ailivate. So let us see how we can create a variable. I say age equal to 10. Now I can print age see what is there in the age 10, right? Now I can change the value in the age to 21, print age. Initially it was 10, now it became 21. So that's why this is called as variable, because the value inside that will keep changing. Okay, so this is variable, and we don't say which type uh, of the variable in Python, whereas in other languages we'll define, because Python dynamically determines what is the type of variable. How do we do web automation using Selenium? So we have different types of software applications. One is desktop applications like MS Office products like MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Web applications which we access through browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Edge. Those are like Gmail, Flipkart, Amazon. And also mobile applications or mobile apps like Facebook, bank apps. So we will specifically discuss about web applications. For example, you access Gmail, Amazon through web browser like Chrome, Firefox. These are called as web applications. There will be a web server which is residing over the internet, and we will be accessing that content of the web server through our laptops or mobiles. So in this scenario, you connect to the internet and you access the content which is there on a web server remotely, which in turn uses database to provide the data which we require for. For example, you buy something on Amazon, you are essentially talking to a web server which is staying at a distance through the Amazon app or through Amazon website, and it talks to the website and provides you the necessary details like what products it has, what is the price of that product, any offers it has, and once you select, it will allow for payment and the order will be taken. So this whole thing will happens over the web. So what do we test as part of this web application testing? We check whether all the links present on the website are working, whether the forms are taking the data and providing required output, whether it is working for all the business workflows. For example, if you want to purchase an item, check an item, compare the items, finalize the item, and buy an item, whether it allows to do all the workflows, whether I can go from one tab to another tab, for examples from my Amazon product page to orders page to returns page, and also the content of the website like the product names, the product details, pictures, all those things. So we test whether all of these are working properly or not. So testing all of these will make UI testing or web UI testing. So the important thing or the critical thing in web UI automation is finding out the elements. So meaning on a web page, you will have lot of elements because web page is designed through HTML, and HTML will have one head, one body, and after that you will have the actual placeholders. It can be an input text box, it can be a label, it can be a button, it can be a picture. So all these actions, whatever we perform manually on the websites to test, need to be performed through automation through code. Meaning we need to tell where a click has to be done, where the data has to be entered into a text box. So all of these will happen through Selenium WebDriver or the library that we use. And in that, the important thing is telling the place where it has to do. So that is done through something called XPaths, and there are several rules to specify an XPath. For example, this says that double slash meaning it doesn't matter for me. You search wherever it has an attribute ID. So if you see actually everything which is there in the red color or my web elements or tags, and whatever is there in blue color are my attributes. So I'm saying wherever you have attribute ID, find all those tags. So it has found that there are two tags called input which has ID. So this is a way of specifying which element it has to find or which tag it has to find. So the same thing we can also see on our browser. If you press F12, there'll be a Chrome developer tool which will be opened, and go to elements tab in that, and just press Ctrl F if you are using Windows or Command F if you are using Mac, and you can write the same XPath whatever you have found out here, so that you can check whether the XPath you are using is correct or not. So XPath is the path to go to an element so that we can do several operations like click, input text, or read the text. So this is a sample code of Selenium. So as I told, Selenium is a library, and in Python, wherever there is a third-party Selenium, there is a third-party library, we need to first install it. So we need to do pip install Selenium, and after that we can import that. So I'm importing the Selenium WebDriver, and using that I am creating a Chrome object. So this creation of a Chrome object is nothing but opening a browser. So whenever you do this, so the browser will be opened with a particular website. So .get is actually giving this website and asking it to go to this particular website, and find element by, meaning go to this particular element and on that click and wait for 10 seconds and then just close your browser. So this is the kind of code we write so that these tests will run multiple times for different releases, and we can see for every release whether things are working or not. Let us see the sample program of Selenium in PyCharm. So in this program, we are opening a browser using a WebDriver object. So when we create a WebDriver object using WebDriver dot whatever the browser you want, it will open the browser. Then get will take us to that particular website, and this find element will find this particular menu item, and then click on that menu item. It will wait for 5 seconds and close the browser. So let me just execute it. You can just right click and execute this. So you can see that this is actually opening a browser, going to the particular URL, clicking on About Us button, and then it is showing the content. It will wait for 5 seconds and it has closed the browser. In this video, we will see how do we use AI Assistant for PyCharm. So you can see this small whirlpool kind of symbol on the right hand side pane of PyCharm. This is called as AI Assistance. If you click on that, it will ask for install plugin. Just install the plugin. This plugin will help us in generating code from the descriptions, generate the documentation for our code, and also debugging our errors which occur in runtime. And you can understand existing project code. So once installed, we can use all these features, and this comes for free. Just log in. For admissions or any inquiries, contact our WhatsApp number